Get ready for today, you guys. I really hope that what I'm going to share in this video is something that you can take away from this, because I always say, like, it's easy to share the good or all the things that people are like, oh yeah, but I decided today to share real life, something very, very personal to me. And so I thought a lot about this because something happened yesterday, and I decided that this is really important. Like, this is something that I felt like I want to address. Not that I need to address it, because I don't need to address this. Two things happened to me yesterday. I'm going to share two stories that actually happened to me. I'm going to share this because I feel like too often, I think every one of you are going to be able to relate to what I'm getting ready to share with you. Maybe not the exact story, maybe not, but so I got a message yesterday, and I really hope that as I share this story, I really hope that people will share this video, because what I feel about so strongly is sharing how people will try to suck your energy from you. It's like I talk about the energy vampires, and I really feel like there are people that want to bring negativity into maybe, your life, or maybe make you feel bad about yourself. So I am going to address a rumor that was brought to my attention yesterday that called me out. And I was like, oh, and you guys, I have to tell you this, because I have to preface this, because don't say, oh, don't let it get to you. I didn't, you guys. Like, when I got the message about what was said, and I'm not gonna, I want you to know, like, I did not cry. I did not go, oh my gosh, I can't believe somebody said this about me. But I'm gonna address it, because I feel like in life, if there's one thing I know, that part of who I am as a company and as a brand is just being honest with you about not only what I'm telling you that I feel are like real big truths that I've experienced and go through, but also if I can help someone else to next time they go through something, and maybe it's something similar to, have you ever had anyone that you lied about something, or what you said wasn't true, or they questioned who you were? If you've had someone say something about you that is not true, let me know. Post it. The reason why I'm saying that is because I believe so strongly. Did I write it in my I Am Enough book? Deny the Drama. I know it's here. Right here. So you guys, today I'm adding a lot more. You kind of saw, this was my motivational Monday. But I believe that. Deny the drama. And where are you going to put your energy? So I'm just going to address it. So if you watch my live, here we go. If you watch my live, I want to say it was maybe a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, I talked about, I talked about Black Lives Matter. I talked about the things that are going on in the world right now that are really hard for me, and how when I grow... Okay, cute little positivity notebooks. Let's just go back up here. Let's just do that. I'm full of gratitude. I talked about how I grew up, and I talked about my book, and I talked about, all the things that I shared, growing up, my past, and someone accused me of lying about something that I shared with you. And I got this message from someone that someone had contacted them. So, like, and I don't even care. Even when I heard this from the person that told me, I was like, don't tell me. I don't care. Like, I don't care who said this. Like, don't care. Not that I don't care about people, because I do care about people, but if someone really thinks that they know you and they don't, then, you're not for me. And I'm definitely not for you, okay? So, I was questioned on my childhood. I've never been questioned on that before. In fact, by the way, my sister's at work, in North Carolina right now. I wish, because if she was on here right now, she would probably be swearing because she handles things differently than me. I got called on the fact that I did not grow up the way I said I did. I heard that, and this is what was being said, that I am lying to all of you, that I am lying, that I did not grow up poor, that I did not grow up in a trailer park, that I am lying about my past. And now, do I know the person that is saying these things, that the message got back to me? No. Could I probably find out who these people and their names? Yeah, but why should I? Because guess what? I don't care. Like, where am I going to put my energy? I'm sharing this with you because last night, I'm not even kidding. I was out in the garage with my husband. We were cleaning up our messiness. We're going camping Friday. And so I guess what I want you to know is, like, years ago, 30 years ago, I would have been like, oh my gosh, somebody thinks this. Somebody doesn't love me, because I am an empath and I do care. I want you guys to connect with me. I want to have real relationships with people. I care what people think about me. So honestly, that's the truth. I do care. But also, I care about my enough and my self-love, and I know my intentions. And by sharing the story I shared, you guys, so let me tell you what people said. Well, it doesn't make sense. They're like, she was talking about how she grew up, and then she talked about when her dad, they had people that came to mow, black people that would come and mow the lawn, and I talked about how my dad refused to let me give these men that I considered and still consider they were my friends water. He was like, you can't, and I was appalled and I was mad, and after my dad left, I went back in the kitchen and did that. So just to explain it, not that I need to, but I just thought, well, if anybody wonders, I'm just going to give you a little bit of story time, just because, you guys, here's the reality. We all have a story, but I just thought I would clarify it in case anybody else was like, what happened? Okay, you guys, if you're here for the do, I'm here to share. I'm in a fabulous mood today, you guys. Like, I just want you to know that. Like, I'm in the best mood because I hope that why I'm sharing this with you and sharing is because I want you to know. And when I heard this and I got the message last night, it just made me want to share more. Like, you know, no matter what you've done in the past, your failures, your inadequacies, all of the things, like, you can rise above and you can deny the drama. Like, I wouldn't know half the things that are going on in the world unless I have people in my life that, because I am a company and a brand, they are watching out for me. They are, you know, making sure that, you know, things are okay and that I'm not being copied in my artwork or I'm not being slandered. Yes, but do I go online and do that? I don't. I really don't, because I'm going to put my energy where my energy needs to be. And that is blocking energy vampires in my life. And the people that are sucking out your energy and your happiness and your positivity and all that. So please keep that in mind. I don't want you at all to think at all that I'm upset. But also at the same time, I was like, okay, if one person thinks I lied, unfortunately, you know what people do? They start sharing that with other people. And I just thought, you know what? I'll just come share my story. And if you believe me, great. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. I am from Hickory, North Carolina, born and raised. Whoop, whoop. It's called Catawba County, if you've ever been there. I was born to a mother who had just turned 19 years old. She was single. She did not, she was very poor. She got pregnant by my father, who was 14 years older than my mother, and married. He had 3 children at the time, and he was married. And my mom and him were together. And my mom was desperately in love with my father. My mother came from very, very, very poor background and had nothing. My mom was I think at the time, maybe working in factories when she got pregnant with me. And my dad wanted her to abort me, and he chose not to. He was, he at one point he beat my mom, and to try to get her to, because she refused to have an abortion, and she had no money at the time. From what I was told, she lived with, she would just live with anybody that could let her sleep on the couch or whatever. My mom didn't have an apartment. She didn't have a place to live. From what I've been told, she lived with friends. And so when I was born, my mom even told me she didn't even have money for diapers. And my dad would give her some money. Now, my dad did have money, you guys. My dad was 14 years older. He owned like some properties, and my dad just, let's just say it, did a lot of things that he was in and out of jail because he did bad things. But he was a very, how do I say this? Gosh, I want to say the right words. He did things to people that weren't naughty, that weren't nice, but he always got out of it because he had the money to get his way out of it. Let's just say that. So he occasionally would give my mom money, but not really. And I don't think his intentions were to leave his wife and family. And so I grew up. So when I was born, from what I've been told, my mother's deceased. You probably, if you know my story, she died when she was 52 years old of a brain aneurysm. I was destroyed, and it's still to this day, just, I miss my mama. I miss my mom. And my dad was very, very abusive to my mother. And even though they weren't married and didn't live together, he beat the shiz out of her all the time, you guys. And I witnessed that. My dad was physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive. And so for many years, even though my parents weren't married, my mom and I, and then my mom had my sister, we would float, which I never went to preschool. I never even went to kindergarten, you guys, because we would float from house to house, trailer park, living in trailers, sleeping on couches. I've slept in cars. There are very few photos of me growing up because, and I used to ask my mom, and this made me want to go downstairs, you guys. It makes me, I want to go look and see what I do have. There's not a lot of photos. I mean, very few photos of me. I asked my mom, I said, why didn't you take photos of me? She goes, honey, I didn't even have money for diapers. So my mom used cloth diapers with those cute little, things. So there's a couple of pictures of me like that. I admit, part of my eating disorder to this day came from feast or famine. When we had food, we had food. When we didn't have food, we didn't have food. I will be honest, my mom, at a couple points in our life, she shoplifted to have food. Oh my gosh, I said I wasn't gonna cry, you guys, for us to eat. And Kroger's. My mom was arrested when I was my first year of college, when I went to BYU. That's how long for shoplifting. I've never shared this, but I'm just like, everybody's like, oh, this didn't happen. And I'm like, yeah, it did. And I don't know why I would lie about it, but I'm going to share the reality. Okay, so my dad was in and out of my mom's life, and unfortunately, probably about the age of 8 or 9, I don't know why, but they kept going back. And at one time, they would have a relationship, they wouldn't. And all during this time, we were very transient. And then when I was probably about 9, I remember we lived in an apartment, you guys. It was an actual apartment, and I will never forget this. and it was in Hickory too. And I remember it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and this was like my first recollection of having a house or a home to live in. And my dad and mom were still not together, so my dad would come over and my mom was there. So I don't know this, you guys, I'm just gonna be honest. What I assume was this was the first time I ever remember having a permanent place to stay. Like, I mean, I remember living in the trailers, and we were always just, to be honest, if you've had a lifestyle where you don't have a lot of money, you can relate to that. You may live someplace here, and then 3 months later, I was going to different schools, and you know, that's how I grew up. And if you don't believe it, that's fine. So we had this apartment, and I remember distinctly going, we're rich. Not that we were rich, but I just thought we made it. We have this place, and I had my own bedroom. And me and my sister shared a bedroom. It was a 2-bedroom. I will never forget that apartment. And unfortunately, my dad and mom got in a fight in the car, and he hit her with so hard with these, they're called brass knuckles, and he busted her head open and blood and all that good stuff. And needless to say, I guess there was a lot of things, so they kicked us out of that apartment. And why, I don't know. But yeah, so my mom and dad decided to get married when I was, I want to say 10 years old. My mom and dad were married for 2 years, you guys. So I think because my mom was done with my dad. I think my mom was ready to finally go on. My mom was in and out of like, basically she had emotional, physical, mental breakdown. I think I've told you that my mom was having electric shock therapy and stuff. So my mom was in and out of a lot of abusive stuff. So my dad, when he would visit us at different times in my life as a young girl, my dad started to sexually abuse me. Oh wow. Okay. So when my mom and dad decided to get married, I knew, I'm here shaking my leg because it's hard to talk about. I knew it was going to be hard. And I didn't want them to get married. They got married at a courthouse. I wasn't there. And they bought this house. If you want to look up the address, this is where I lived from after they got married. 1047 12th Avenue Northwest, Hickory, North Carolina, zip code 28601. They bought this house. Well, I should say my dad bought this house because my mom was, honestly was so talented, you guys, and did decor and had started doing things and decorating people's houses, and she would do a lot of great stuff. But because of her physical, more so her mental things, she spent a lot of times not working and working. And so my dad bought this house, and because it was, I don't even know how much the house was, you guys, but it definitely was this was a house. I finally lived in a house. And I started going to I was able to actually go to a school for the first time and not go to a school for a year, 6 months, and all the moving kind of stopped. And so what happened was, this house to me was like a mansion. It was a house. I had my own bedroom. There's 3 bedrooms. You guys, to me, it was a mansion. It was like everything. I don't know how big this house is. Google it, you guys. I don't know. But I will tell you, my dad and my mom, my dad had money. I'm not lying. If you've ever heard me talk, I went from, my mom and her whole family that had no money. And so all of a sudden, yes, that was the one time in my life I remember that, basically my dad lived in that house with us for 2 years, and it was pure hell. Pure hell. I don't want to talk about what happened. My mom, he, of course, made her work, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but she worked, and she would go to work before my dad. And that's all I'm going to say. And every morning was hell for me. Every morning for 2 years of my life was very hard. So everything escalated in that house, and that is where I witnessed things I don't even want to talk about because it was bad. There was my sister Shelly and me, my mom, and the last straw was one night, and I'm just going to tell you what happened because this was the last time I ever saw my dad in that house. My dad came home. My dad was an alcoholic. He was in a drunken rage. He was upset that my mother had, his dinner was not, we lived in fear, by the way. We walked on eggshells. Her dinner was not, the dinner was not warm enough, the food. And I remember him taking the food. He comes downstairs and he starts swearing at my mom in profanity, and I'm standing there, you know, and I'm all of like, I'm not even 12 at the time, you guys, and I'm like, and he takes the food and he throws it into the TV, and he starts beating the blank out of my mom, the crapola. And he's going, and she's yelling, Jerry, please, I love you. Don't do this. Don't hurt me. And he's like coming at, and then he starts coming after me and my sister and my mom. And she's telling us to run, because he's like out of control. And he's running after my mom, and she's running up the stairs. And you guys, she broke her ankle, like legit broke her ankle. And so she's trying to get out of the house. And then she's yelling for us to run. So we all ran into the woods by my house, if that makes sense. And that's before cell phone days. So my mom, we had to find each other in the dark because he's out there yelling, trying to find us. That's the last time I ever remember my father being in that house. Let's just say my mom had to go to the hospital. She was severe broken, you know, beat up, the whole thing. My sister and I, we went to a neighbor's. We called a neighbor and secretly had her. Thank you, Kathy. I don't know if Kathy's still alive, but Kathy came and picked us up, and we slept on her couch, and it was green velvet. I remember that night. And I remember my mom having to be hospitalized, and Kathy, I was crying, and I was like, where's my mommy? You know, where's my mom? Is she okay? You know, and Kathy just saying, your mom's going to be okay. I was so scared of my dad because he's like, I'm going to kill you. I'm really going to kill you this time, because he always told my mom he was going to kill her. And so my mom, and you guys, I wish I could remember why. I don't know how. Like, this is where I don't, because I was not even 12 at the time. They actually got divorced on the paperwork. It says when I was 12. So you guys, you have to understand, I'm still a very young girl processing real big things. I just remember being so thankful that my dad was out of the house when we finally were able to go back into the house, you guys. But we could not afford the house. And my dad we lived in constant fear that my dad was going to come kill my mother. I always thought my dad was going to kill my mom, because she always even said, she goes, one day your dad will kill me. And he killed her emotionally. He really did. But, okay, so we live in this house. If you want to Google it, I gave you the address. You can see exactly where I grew up. That house was, my mom had it and owned it to the day she died. And it was everything to her, I think. But we couldn't afford the house. My dad left, and he refused to help for child support. And then somehow, I don't know how she got it, he decided to give her $50 a month for the bastards. I'm sorry, I'm just saying the word. I shouldn't say that word, but that's what we were called. He didn't call me Teresa. He called me Ox, or he called me that B word. I'm not going to say it again. It's bad. So he had nothing to do with us. He had nothing, you guys. He did not call. Well, there was no texting, but nothing. My dad was done. didn't love us anyway, but like he was done. So for those of you who want to, oh, and so during that time, my dad was there at the house, you guys. Yes, he paid for somebody to come mow the lawn, just so you know. That's the truth. So if you're wondering where that came from in the story, that's just the truth, you guys. Like, my dad drove a really nice car. My mom didn't. My dad would beat my mom, and his way of getting her back would be to buy her an expensive dress. And so you don't want to hear all that. But here's the deal. My dad left. My mom couldn't afford the house, but she couldn't afford anything else. And so she did everything in her power to be able to keep that house, you guys, at her detriment, you guys. So we lived in this house. We couldn't afford heat, you guys. Have you guys know those kerosene heaters? So we had kerosene heaters, you guys, that we would carry from room to room. My sister, my mom, and I, at times, oftentimes in the winter, we slept in one room of the house so that we had heat. My mom started stealing food. When I was 12 or 13, I started getting jobs to earn money. I started being that entrepreneur, you guys. I did not eat school lunch. I did not have money for lunch. I can remember a couple times where I may have had money, like I tried to like babysit. I used to try to do different things, and if I ever had money occasionally, it was a big deal if I could buy an ice cream or something. And so I kind of had the extremes. When Dad lived at the house, we had food in the house for, like I said, maybe 2 years. But money was a way he manipulated my mom and me. I remember he bought me roller skates, you guys. I want to say that was his way of, like, a lot of times he was like, if you tell anybody, he would say, oh, I don't want to go into it, but if you're an abuse survivor, you know what I'm saying. I'm not going to get into this now. Anyway, so I have not lied about my past. I have not lied about my upbringing. I don't know why anybody would want to even... I wish this wasn't the way I grew up. I wish that I had a dad that had loved me and a normal, per se. What is normal, by the way? I wish my childhood had been different, but at the same time, it wasn't. So I'm not a victim. I refuse to be a victim. I refuse to allow anyone to try to take my power away from me. And I really believe this. Like I said, for the people that were like, you shouldn't say Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, why shouldn't I? I believe it with all my heart. I value all people. I believe that racism has to stop. I believe that we should love one another and support each other. And I believe so strongly that in what I do and what I design and promote, it's not just some phony baloney and like, this is what it's about. I don't believe in the cancel culture. And what I mean by that is it's really easy for people to go and say things. Maybe they don't even say it online, but they spread things that aren't true. And here's the thing, like, I've had people tell me things about people and I go, like, it's not first. I don't want drama. I want to support and love everyone. I'm an empath to the core of me, and I don't have room in my heart for hate. I don't have room in my heart to want anybody's demise. I've had people say, well, what do you feel about this? Did you hear this person did this? And I'm always like, why would I ever, like, for me, wish ill on anybody or wish anybody's company to do bad? There's enough pie for all of us. And here's the real, like, when you have been, paying for my own college, paying for my own cars, every single car, I started buying my own clothes. I started buying my own food, at a young age. And it's just what I grew up knowing, that there wasn't this like, here, Teresa, here, I'm going to pay for your college. I'm going to pay for your car. I'm going to pay for... No, that's not how it happened for me. And guess what? It has served me well. I've learned if I want something, if I need to do something, then I will do it and I will appreciate it. And there is nothing wrong with working hard and accomplishing your goals, as long as you're not trying to hurt somebody along the way. I'm not trying to cheat people. I'm not trying to, like, you know, I have never been one to say, oh my gosh, please, you've got to support me. Here's my GoFundMe. I had so many people when Tyler died. I'm like, no, thank you so much. Send me prayers. No. I never would ever want to take advantage of anyone or try to manipulate people into doing things that I don't feel like, I don't want to manipulate. I don't want to lie. And so the next thing that I wanted to address was, about just, I did this quote today on I'm going to read it. I said, who are you giving your energy to? So this was on my Instagram page. I said, let's get real today. I've noticed more than ever that I must protect my energy. So I have to ask the question, who or what are you giving your energy to? There's so much that is worthy of your passions, your thoughts, your wisdom, your voice, and your action. This is where your energy should focus. Right now, I feel the reality of energy vampires who are distracting or trying to empty our energy tanks on things that are not worthy of our energy and attention. So I remind you, as I remind myself, focus on who and what matters. What should your energy go to in your life? Stand up for who and what you believe in, and be the best version of you. Be willing to give your time and energy, be unwilling to give your time and energy to negative and useless things. So hopefully, I hope you saw that, because I truly believe that. Like, I believe that if you want light in your life, you have to exude that life. I believe if you want to give back in life, you will. If you want to find fault in me, if you want to find fault in others, if you want to find fault in yourself, you will. Don't. Look for the good. And also, if you do have issues with someone, the best person to take that up with is with them, and do it with love and kindness. Well, that's me. But don't try to destroy someone, or because maybe because you can, maybe you have that platform. And so that's why at times it's really easy to go out there and to believe. There's always two sides to a story. Can I say that? Like, it's easy to look at something and go, whoa. Another thing I'm going to share. I'm just going to put it out there. And this is really hard for me to share because this makes me emotional, because this has to do with my late husband, Tyler. Okay. When Tyler died, I knew what it was like. For the first time in my life, to feel like did I want to keep living? I never thought about hurting myself, you guys. It was never like that. It was just like, if you've ever been so completely heartbroken, and I felt so alone. And it scared me. It scared me because I didn't even feel the comfort of my children. My daughter was serving a mission for our church, and I remember she came home. I'll never forget it, December 15th. Tyler had died November 15th, exactly the month before. And I remember it was 4 weeks later, and she came home, and we were picking her up from the airport. And that day, I still felt, it's almost like I felt nothing, just deep sadness. I was thinking that, why am I feeling so, and I was just in such a sad place. And there's a lot that happened after Ty passed away. Just that always happens, and it's not something I really want to talk about, but it was really hard. And when people pass away, I feel like it's easy to like grieve with someone that day, maybe that week, and then everybody else goes on with their life. But you're living it every day. And I wasn't getting out of bed. I wasn't showering. I was going to the grave every single day. Every day. And I'm just at the grave and I'm crying and I'm so distraught, and I felt so alone, and it was pretty bad. And so what some of you may not know is that Devin and Gentry came and moved in with me. And you guys, that was probably what I needed more than anything, because I was lost. I love Tyler. I still love Tyler. We had a harder marriage, but I was determined that we were gonna never get divorced. And it was a completely, how can I say this? It was a completely different marriage because it was a different person. And so sometimes I feel like it's so crazy how, but I believe God gave me Tyler to really help me in so many ways. And I'm not going to get into all of that. Okay, so after Tyler died, you guys know I do an event every year. And I'm just setting the record straight here. I had been doing it for many years in Henderson, Nevada. And there was a rumor, and someone said that I said some things that people believed. Because, like sometimes when you're doing events and you have other people involved, and sometimes you just, you decide to do things differently. And so I think that is what kind of happened to the event. And it came to a point of maybe doing it some different ways and moving on from that particular situation. And I had people upset with me when they knew that I was gonna do my event differently, and we were gonna kind of, I'm trying to say this very delicately because I honestly have so much love and thankfulness for everything that happened. And if that makes sense, like I don't have any will ill, but so how they always say this happened? Well, it was like, it's like, oh, so-and-so said this. And basically what happened was it was rumored that I said to someone, like, I'm cutting you out of my life, just like, you're dead to me, just like cancer, like I'm done with cancer. And that's not exactly how it was, but it was a very horrible, rude thing that was said to people that I had said about something. And that's the only other thing in my life that to the core of me really got to me, because it hurt me so deeply that anybody that knew me knew that I wouldn't have said that. I just want you to know, if you ever heard that, I know you probably didn't, but like, just remember that if you didn't hear it come out of somebody's voice, don't necessarily believe it, you guys. Like, I know it's easy to like think that, and that's one of the things that like I'm always very, very mindful of, like when people say things about other people, like I'm not that one to jump on the bandwagon and say, yeah, that person sucks, look what they did. Like, just keep that in mind, because it happened to me. And I want you to know that if you kind of know what I'm talking about, like, I just want you to know that, like, I have nothing but positivity and love for every single person that is still in my heart. All the people I've met over the years are in my heart. I wish no ill will on anyone, and nor would I ever want anyone to ever die, to ever have cancer, to ever feel any of those things. I don't know a person alive, I guarantee you, every one of you here will know or have known, or you've been in a situation where someone said you said something you didn't, or they don't believe something you said, like, she didn't grow up poor, she didn't grow up in a trailer park, girl's lying, you know. And so I'm gonna just put out some sparks of love today. Sparks, sparks, sparks of love. Love yourself, love other people, be kind. If someone has hurt you, my mom always told me that hurt people hurt people. You know, she'd always say, when people are hurt, they want to hurt, you know, and that's kind of how I've always kind of in the back of my mind, like, okay, so I don't want to bring hurt into anybody's life. I don't want them to bring hurt in my life. But I also am not going to put negative energy out there. So I want you to know, please, 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 if there's anything you can know, I'm great, you guys. I am great. I am not at all doing this video because I know by the time this video goes live and I put it up on YouTube, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, oh, Teresa, I'm sorry you went through that. Please, I am not a victim, you guys. I am not a victim. I am better for everything I've went through. I am stronger. I own my power. I will never allow anyone to make me feel less than again. I subscribe to building myself and others every single day. I know that I am not perfect. I know that I do things I regret, but I know I'm trying and I know my intentions. What are your intentions? My intentions are to give love, to support people, to use my voice in any way to make a difference in this world. Not only my voice, but my products. Like, I'm so proud of what I've done, you guys, and not in a boastful, braggy way. I am proud of what I'm continuing to try to do. I am self-made in every way. I didn't have, you know, the luxury of a lot of things that maybe some people did. I am proud of that. I have worked hard to build myself and hopefully to build others. I love myself, imperfections and all. And if I have ever in any way, ever offended you or done anything to make you feel that I don't love you, that I don't care, I am truly sorry. And that's the truth. Like, I do not want anyone to ever feel that in any way that if I've ever done anything, you know, come to me, talk to me. You can come to me personally if you feel like I've lied about my past. Please, I can take it, and it's okay. And it's okay for you to unsubscribe from me. It's okay. Delete, block me, unfollow me. It's okay. But I love you. And I love you, my friends. And I support you. I love you guys so much. And I hope that I wanted to share this story. And honest to goodness, the reason why I shared it is because the next time someone says, don't believe that. You're wrong. Oh, you know, or, you know, with everything, I just want you to go, you know what? Know your intentions, and it's okay to just go, I'm not going to allow anyone to make me feel less than, or, you know, and I really feel that very strongly. Okay, love you guys. I hope you have the best day. Please share this video. I know there are other people that need to hear this. I'm kind of embarrassed. I'll be honest. Part of me, not part of me, all of me wants to delete this. I got very vulnerable. Like, I got very vulnerable. I shared things on this video I've never shared before. And it's hard. It's hard to talk about this. And I hope that by some ways, me sharing things that I really want to delete this video. So I love you. Have a great day. I hope I made sense. I tried not to ramble, but you know what? Like, clarifying, putting it out there, love and light. If my story in any way, if one of you gleans something or insight, or if I've helped you in some way from this video, just let me know. That's why I'm doing it. Love you. Bye, guys.